Perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another amazing episode as part of our Tree of Knowledge series in aid of commemorating National Arbor Month for 2020. I'm so excited to introduce the next guest to you because we were just chatting before we started in saying that it feels like we know each other. Because that's just the power in the Miss Earth South Africa program. You have ecos and earth sisters all around you, and you feel like you've known each other for years. So, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce Nicoles who's just completed her MEC, which is Masters in Sport and Recreation Management. Nicoles, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Marga. It's so special to be part of something like this, that you are creating this awareness. So I'm really happy and honored to be part of this.
I'm so excited to chat to you. So I'm going to jump straight into it, right? Your interest and love for the environment, how have you incorporated that into your daily life?
Yeah, Marga, I love coffee and tea.
Yeah.
So coffee in the mornings, tea in the afternoons, and in the evenings. So simple things that I've done is, you can reuse those coffee beans and the tea. So just use it for fertilizer in the garden, not throwing that away. For instance, my mom has this saying of in Afrikaans, to reis lig, in English would be to travel light.
Yeah.
And that really, it really just connects with me to that idea of waste stops with me, the campaign that Miss Earth also kind of promotes and is part of kind of the daily living in my life. So yeah, just to simply reuse items that for instance, I received a gift earlier on, and to reuse that gift bag to make it a little box that you can put in your folders or something like that. And also grey water, that's very important for me as well, to reuse grey water, for instance, if you take a shower, to put a little bucket just close by to when you're waiting for the water just to get hot or warmer. Reuse it, go and water your plants afterwards, especially now with the cold weather. I've been making myself a hot water bottle, and then instead of just throwing the water down the drain, you can just water your plants again with that same water.
Reuse it.
So reusing it, so very simple things that have become quite a habit, an automatic response to what you're doing, because you've been doing it every day. So simple things like that. I know you've been talking about the plastic free July a lot, which I loved.
Thank you.
I haven't been doing the shopping, but I know my parents, they know that I always say, you need to take your material bag with you, or just refuse the single-use plastics, which make quite a big difference. If we, one person, if you do it, if I do it, it's already two people. So small things like that, incorporating that into your daily living, and that just starts becoming a habit, and then it feels weird not to do it, if you know what I mean. So simple things like that.
People are actually saying that apparently with Plastic Free July, I became like this voice in their head, because like they'll go to the shop and they're like, oh shucks, Margo is gonna freak out. I didn't pack my bags. So I'm glad to see that Plastic Free July had such a dynamic impact, because I think Plastic Free July was the very first time I decided to go virtual and just attempt, using my social media sort of to campaign. And it was the start of leading up to this campaign. So I'm really glad to see that Plastic Free July, just hit home, and people just automatically took the message and started saying like, I need to like go with my shopping bags, because Margo is going to like literally shout at me. And then Nicoles, just your thoughts around the importance of environmental education.
Yeah, I love this question. I think environmental education is something that starts at home. You know,
Yeah.
you don't need to think you need to go somewhere to learn about the environment. It's small things that can, you know, if for instance, myself, like I watch programs on National Geographic, or you read up on something, and then you can tell your sister about it, you can tell your parents about it, you can tell your friend, your neighbor. So for me, it's quite important because it provides you with that opportunity to gain a little bit knowledge about what are the environmental issues we face today. Because I think especially now, being surrounded only with buildings and inside homes, because we can't get out with COVID and everything going on, I think it's very important to just become aware of what issues are still outside. It's not that it disappeared suddenly. Now that we had lockdown, we still face these humongous issues that we need to address. And yeah, coming back to your environmental education, I think it's really, really important. And I think campaigns like these just bring that awareness back to us to really understand what our impact is on the earth and how we can really try and combat it with simple things. For instance, I'm thinking about, you know, driving along the road, you would see someone throwing a piece of paper out of their window, and you would think, you know, for me and for you, it might be natural to think, you know, don't do that. It's bad for the environment, but because perhaps they lack the environmental education in their community or in their surrounding area, they don't understand what impact that has. So I think it's really important to educate wherever you can, how much you can.
Then, you know, just sort of staying on the environmental education part of this conversation, just, I mean, you've just recently completed your tertiary education. Do you think that the environmental aspect is covered enough by our educational system and our curriculums?
You know, I think I won't say that it's not covered at all. I think there is efforts to do that, but I think that the teachers are not properly educated on how to teach it, how to convey a message. You know, with kids, it's they love pictures, they love to do it physically. That's how they remember things. Whereas, for instance, in university and so on, we love words, or we associate with words and hearing something. So I think in the educational system, I think the theme of environment does go through all the subjects, but I don't think that there's a subject that just focuses on environmental education. I think it would be so cool if we had a subject where it's a gardening subject, you know, where you go, you make yourself, you plant something, or we start doing organic gardens at schools. So I think something like that, I think we do lack something like that in our education system. So it would be great if we can invest into something like that.
And then, sorry, the last follow-up question with regards to education. I've recently, because like I said to you earlier, I'm actually going out on Monday and starting tree planting. And because we are not engaging with the kids, and because I've developed this new thing of saying that I'm planting trees, so everything I need to do paperless. So we've been putting together these amazing packages on flash drives that we're actually going to leave with the schools, that they can play afterwards to you know, use it as part of the curriculum. And one of the videos that I actually covered was replenishment. And I made the example to say that it's a warm day outside and your whole class needs to drink from one glass of water. There's not another source for the water, so you only have access to the water that's in the glass. And at some point, someone won't have water to drink. So it's just a practical, and it's just tying into what you were saying, how kids, as much as they are these sponges of just information, you
Yeah.
also need to know how to, it's the same message, but you've got to be able to alter it in how you bring across that message, because the way you're going to explain to a primary school child and the way you're going to explain to a high school child is two different things, but it's still the same message. um, Sorry, so that's just I just wanted to add on to say that, it's so
Yeah.
true what you're saying on the educational side. But staying on the topic of replenishment, at the rate, especially with deforestation, because of the goods and the services that humanity demands from the environment, do you think that we invest enough in terms of replenishment?
Yeah, Margaret, I think we can always plant more trees.
Yes.
I think that's yeah, I think what we take out of the environment, we need to give back to the environment. And it's so easy to put the blame or the responsibility on the municipality and the government and NGOs and other people. We don't tend to take ourselves responsible for what is happening in the environment and to do replenishment. So I think from consumer side, I think we as consumers have a great responsibility, and we hold quite a bit of power in terms of what we demand. If we demand animal cruelty free products, those things would be much more in supply. And yeah, so I really think from a consumer's perspective, I think we're not doing enough, because it's we are in this easy relaxed kind of state. It's plastic, I'm just going to take it. Why not say, listen, this is plastic, it's bad for the environment. It can be perhaps in a glass bottle, which is also not the greatest alternative, but it is an alternative that is has a less of a destructive impact on the environment. So I think for sure, I think NGOs are doing so much. You, for instance, you're doing all of these campaigns. Miss Earth is doing lots of campaigns. The World Wildlife Foundation, they are doing lots of things with their communities and the environment. But I think from a consumer's perspective, I don't think they are doing a lot. So I think having these awareness campaigns, we really need to push people to think with a different mindset, to think more with that eco mindset, to look through those green glasses, like Ella would say. So yeah, I really think there is a lot of things that people do, especially from NGOs and other types of organizations. But I think consumers really need to, get a little bit of a oomph into them to start demanding things that are better for the environment. And I think that's how we will start, becoming those catalysts for change. If we demand more eco-friendly products, for instance.
And I just love the way you phrased that right now, Nicoles, because I've actually just completed a paper that I'm submitting to the United Nations. And in that paper, I was actually saying that, I don't think humanity realizes, but we are the decision makers, we are the CEOs, we are the consumer, we are the producer. So as much as there are these systems that needs to work around us, as humanity, we still have such a great impact on the choices that we make and just how we apply these environmental best practices that we need in order to sustain our systems. And that, again, I mean, it emphasizes, again, just the importance around awareness, because I think the more we speak about it and the more we continue this message, the more society and humanity starts to have that light bulb moment and be like, oh, but I'm a strategic analyst for Coca-Cola, or I'm a brand manager for Woolworths. So why aren't we having this conversations in our meetings? Why is it not a part of our agenda? Why is the environment an afterthought? What are we doing as Pick and Pay or Checkers or ShopRite to say that, okay, this is our environmental contribution? Because humanity makes up those home bodies in those meetings. So yeah, that's just, again, just, I mean, education and awareness. And I think that a lot of people, and I've had this conversation, a lot of people says that apparently us Miss Earth girls, like, we are just all about education and awareness. It's like we will shout it from the rooftops if we have to.
Wow.
And you know, it shows just how important it is for individuals to say that, you know what, I want to be that voice. I want to stand up for the environment, and I want to continue. And I also want to provoke. And I think that is such an important part. It's to provoke these kinds of conversations, because we are not having them, you know. We don't have these conversations around our dinner tables or amongst our friends or with our colleagues. So it's important to also provoke these kinds of conversations.
Definitely.
And then, Nicolette, we are celebrating National Arbor Month, which is something that's also very dear to, I think, like 99.9% of the Miss Earth girls. And for all of you out there, we have a saying where we always say that, you know, once a Miss Earth, always a Miss Earth. So just for you, Nicolette, I mean, you participated through the program in 2016. So you've been a part of the commemoration of Environmental Days of Importance. You've campaigned and advocated. Just so, what are some of your thoughts around, you know, the commemoration of these Environmental Days of Importance? And are we investing enough resources and time towards these commemorations?
You know, I think it's wonderful that we commemorate these days. And like Ella Bella said, I think she said it on one of your talks as well. And she says it, I think, quite a lot, that you need to get the people and the planet to connect.
Yeah.
And I think commemorating these days really does connect people and planet. If that's through tree planting, that's, you know, well, it's through tree planting, for instance, or environmental cleanup, or just an awareness of the water usage and shortages that we do have. I really think that we as humanity have become so disconnected with the environment and with nature, that commemorating these days really connects us back to the earth. You know, it's so wonderful to be able to touch a tree. You would know, for instance, if just that ceremony of tree planting, it really just, it's a surreal moment. You kind of have that intimate moment with nature, and you realize, wow, I have an impact on this tree, and this tree has an impact on me. And the value of nature, just becomes a highlight in that commemoration. So God, did I answer your question?
Yes, you did.
About commemorating, I've been talking
No, you definitely did. Yeah. And then just for you as, you know, as someone that has been advocating for just environmental protection, what does Arbor Month mean to you?
You know, I think Arbor Month, it just brings about this eco mindset, especially. I talk about it in my thesis as well, where this ego mindset represents where the person or people in humanity see themselves on top of the pyramid and the rest of nature on the bottom. And I think with Arbor Month and Arbor Week, I think we really change that ego perspective to more of an eco perspective, where we are interconnected, we are integrated within nature. Whatever happens to nature is going to happen to us, and vice versa. And I think that just, it amplifies the way we think about how we impact nature. And, you know, tree planting with deforestation is so necessary. So I definitely think that Arbor Month has not just makes an impact in a small community or in a small area, but it makes a huge impact on the overall ecosystems of the earth. So yeah, that's really what it means to me personally.
And I think there's just that feeling, you know, of knowing that you are doing something, or you are gifting future generations with something that you potentially in the next 10, 20 years won't be around to see or to experience what it has to offer. But you're doing it knowing that, you know, I'm planting a tree today so that, you know, our children and our children's children and just generations after them can have shade, can have paper to write on, can have access to the services and the goods, and just know that we've contributed in that way. And I think it's a feeling that, because I personally get so excited for Arbor Month, I don't think anybody understands. It's most
Like
probably
goosebumps.
it's the best part of my year. You know, I look forward to September so much because of that. And even though like this year it's going to be so different because I won't be able to engage with the kids, and you know, but I always talk about the fact that when I go for Arbor Month, just when they put their hands in the soil, when they're holding that tree, when they put, once they're done planting the tree, just to see and experience the excitement and that pride that they display, to know that, you know, I've planted this tree, this is our class's tree, or this is our school's tree. That is just something that is so amazing to experience. And it also sort of drives us to continue doing what we do all the time.
Yeah, it's true. And it's like that excitement, you know, talking about you saying that they you know, that's their tree, they want to protect it, they want to preserve it, and through that engagement they actually go out and they do tell other people, they do tell their friends, listen, we planted a tree today and this is our tree and I'm going to water it. And then you kind of get more people involved, or even if it's just one person telling another person, that's already, you know, setting a change, making a change in that community. And then next time, or in 2 months time, you know, the second person is going to think about, oh, but we also want to feel that feeling, and also have that, you know, tree planting ceremony or idea that you've got. And then it starts, it just becomes a ripple effect going on and on and on. And that's so amazing about tree plantings and Arbor Week.
Yeah. And then Nicoles, just to end off this session with you, take us through your journey and what drove you to advocate for sustainability and environmental protection.
You know, I think the idea that even if I'm just one person, I know I can make a change. And I want to make a change. I want to be a voice for the voiceless, whether that's animals or plants or trees. I think, you know, you mentioned it also quite a lot. If nothing changes, if we change nothing, nothing changes. And that's such a powerful quote, because I feel like if I can make a change, you know, it can set someone else to think, you know, she's one person, but she can make a change in her neighborhood. She can make a change in her friends, in the community. It's never too small. And I think that's continuously driving me, because I, as you mentioned earlier, I really want my kids one day to really breathe in fresh air without masks, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Breathing in the fresh air, enjoying sitting outside, smelling the flowers, seeing rhinos, not just in a book, but actually seeing what a rhino looks like, and all these other animals who also start to become endangered. Really, I think that's like the spark, or the driving momentum inside of me that really wants to say, but even if I'm just one person, I still can make that difference. I can, if it's planting a speckworm, or that elephant bush, you know, that also takes a lot of CO2 out of the air and converts it to oxygen, especially in South Africa, where we're in a quite a drought area, or drought community. So I think, I think the fact that we want to have that impact on the earth, even though it's not something we might see today or tomorrow or in my lifetime. I hope that we are able to do that for our future generation. Yeah. And then the journey started with Miss Earth, I guess. But yeah, from small, since I was a kid, my parents used to take me to the Kruger Park. That was our holiday that we always were so excited about. And I think my love for the environment just started there, seeing the animals. I think that really just sparked in me being more environmentally conscious. Can talk all day long.
And then I just quickly want to ask this question. I mean, you participated in 2016. The Miss Earth South Africa program has been around for about 20 years now. So just quickly tell us, how has it been like for you, going through the program as a young woman in South Africa?
I mean, when I think about it, it just, I like you said, you feel like there's like this sisterhood going on. That's why I love following all the new, we'll say newbies, but the people coming in every year. I want to see who's going to be part of it. I want to follow their journey. I want to see what they're doing. So I think it's really amazing. You kind of connect through nature, through all the projects. You don't feel like strangers when you're part of the program. You have lifelong sisters through the program. And community engagement, it's really out of your comfort zone at first, but once you do it, it's like that adrenaline just goes and you just want to keep on doing it, and it's like it becomes a lifestyle, it becomes part of you. So I'm really grateful for the journey I started with Miss Earth. Ella, Bella, Catherine, Georgina, they all feel like family to me. And I think it's just amazing the work that they do. You get to go out into your community, which is great because it's so diverse. Going in Cape Town, KwaZulu-Natal, Bloemfontein, there are so many advocates in those different provinces that it can just only grow and grow. But for me, it's really special. You even go to and you ask the schools that you were part of planting in them. You ask them, how big has the tree grown now? Is it a big tree now? Or so it's really nice to see the impact that you have on other people through the program, but also how the program really impacts your life and the way you think about things. And
Definitely. And I agree so much with you, eh? It's like this, I always joke when I tell people, I say, I think back in the days when I thought about planning my wedding, I used to say I'll have like one maid of honor and one bridesmaid. And then I entered Miss Earth and I'm like, I'm most probably going to end up with like 10 bridesmaids. Because it's so true. Like, I mean, for instance, the two of us, we've been following each other on social media. And Miss Earth, sparks that relationship, and you feel like you know each other. And the beauty in it is, like, especially in the current state that our country is in, as a young woman, I think that is one thing that I just respect so much about the Miss Earth program, is that that sense of lifting each other and supporting each other and forming lifetime bonds. It's amazing. I mean, myself and Nazia, we can't go a week without like checking in on each other and just having our girl time, whether it's video call, whether it's chatting. So you really form that sisterhood, and the beauty in that is that we're not only uplifting each other as a young woman, but we inspire each other to continue the advocacy, to continue the work, to continue planting, whether it's 1 tree, 10 trees, whether it's, supporting a new like you said, newbie. We don't want to say the word newbie, but there's a 2020 finalists that are now busy. And I met with one this morning because I assisted her and donated trees for her to plant. So there's that continuous reaction of the message continues because we get to create this bond amongst ourselves, So it's I couldn't agree with you more.
It's amazing. Yeah, no, it definitely is. I actually have my way stops with me. Still my little, I think we got it on one of the finalists week or something that I still have with me. I always have like on my I can't think of the word on this box.
But Nicoles, thank you so much for making the time to join us on this series, and for allowing me to chat to you, and also just share some of your views and insights with everybody out there. So yeah, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for you, and thank you. You know, it's so wonderful to see. You know, you've entered the program 2 years ago, you said, and you're still continuing. You still have that spark and still spreading that awareness, which is so important. And yeah, I just really want to thank you for that, because I really appreciate what you're doing for the environment, and thank you for making me part of this series. It's so cool. When I got the message, I was like, yes, let's do it. I love it. But thank you very much.